Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Sean, and we're the Ohio History Geeks.
Today we are coming to you from Perry's Victory and International Peace Memorial to talk about a very important event that happened here, the Battle of Lake Erie.
The battle took place on September 10, 1813, between the United States and the British Navy during the War of 1812.
That's right. 9 American ships from the U.S. Navy destroyed and captured 6 British vessels, which is very important because it ensured the Americans controlled the lake for the duration of the war. It also ensured they could recapture the lost cities of Detroit and win the Battle of the Thames, which crushed the Indian forces of Tecumseh and saved the entire Northwest Territory.
Now, let's go to the story. When this war started, the British immediately took over Lake Erie. In fact, there was only one American ship on the lake, and it was immediately captured. This left the Northwest Territory, including Ohio, very vulnerable to attack. This is also why Fort Detroit did not receive reinforcements and was very quickly captured by the British.
So the Americans set themselves to the task of building ships and transferring other ships here to Lake Erie from the other Great Lakes to take on the formidable British fleet. A man by the awesome name of Oliver Hazard Perry was in charge of the American fleet. Days before the battle would begin, he had a flag made that would signal to the rest of his ships that the battle was about to begin. As he raised the flag, his men saw what it said. It said, "Don't give up the ship." A cheer ran out from his boat. It went to the other American boats. Soon all the American sailors were cheering, ready for battle. And that flag would become legendary in American naval history.
On the morning of September 10th, the Americans saw the British ships heading toward them while stationed here in Put-in Bay. Perry set his ships out to attack.
Both squadrons were in line of battle, with their heaviest vessels near the center of the line. Perry hoped to get his 2 largest brigs, his flagship Lawrence and Niagara, into cannon range quickly, but in the light wind, his vessels were making very little speed, and Lawrence was battered by the assortment of long guns for at least 20 minutes before being able to return even a single shot.
When Lawrence was finally within cannon range at 12:45, her shot was not as effective as Perry hoped they would be. Although the American gunboats at the rear of the American line of battle steadily pounded the British ships in the center of the action with raking shots from their long guns from a distance, Lawrence was reduced by 2 British ships to a wreck.
4/5 of Lawrence's crew were killed or wounded. Both of the fleet's surgeons were sick with lake fever. When the last gun on Lawrence became unusable, Perry decided to transfer his flag. Perry took his flag and rode a half a mile through heavy gunfire to the Niagara, where he would raise again his flag, "Don't give up the ship." This scene is depicted in a huge painting located inside the rotunda of the Ohio State House.
The British ship Detroit collided with the American ship Queen Charlotte, both ships being almost unmanageable with damaged rigging and almost every officer killed or severely wounded. The British commander was severely wounded and his first lieutenant was killed. Most of the smaller British vessels were also disabled and drifting to leeward. The British, nevertheless, expected the Americans to retreat. Instead, once aboard Niagara, Perry brought the American fleet into action.
Niagara broke through the British line to fire raking broadsides from ahead of them, while other American gunboats fired from the front. The British were surrounded and facing complete annihilation. They surrendered around 3 o'clock. After the battle, Oliver Hazard Perry wrote a message to the commander of the American forces, General William Henry Harrison. "Dear General, we have met the enemy and they are ours. 2 ships, 2 brigs, 1 schooner, and 1 sloop. Yours with great respect and esteem, O.H. Perry."
The victory on Lake Erie was very important because it gave the Americans control of Lake Erie for the remainder of the war.
This meant Americans could move their troops all along the lake and recapture lost cities and territories they had previously lost to the British, including the recapture of Detroit.
After the battle, the British Army commander was forced to retreat to Canada, along with the Native American tribes led by Tecumseh.
The American Army was led by William Henry Harrison, pursued the retreating British troops into Canada, and at the Battle of the Thames, Tecumseh was killed.
Not only was this a crushing blow to the British, but also marked the last time Native American tribes would be a threat to the American government east of the Mississippi River.
Ohio, Pennsylvania, and western New York were now free from the threat of the British fleet, making the Battle of Lake Erie one of the most important in the entire war. Until next time, I'm Chris.
And I'm Sean from Perry's Monument in Put-in-Bay.
And we're the Ohio History Geeks.